In this time, you've got a 22-year-old British colonel. You might know his name, George Washington. He's in a battle with the French, a land battle here, where the British are being decimated by the French. They're being annihilated. Every single officer on the British side is killed, except one. George Washington was the one who survived. Listen to his account of this. He says, "I have been protected beyond all human probability or expectation, for I had," look at this, 4 bullets through my coat, and 2 horses shot under me, yet escaped unhurt, although death was leveling my companions on every side." So again, Providence is holding off the French conquest of North America. In this case, preserving the life of a very important founding father. By the way, if you've ever read a book called Gospel Workers, very good book, it mentions George Washington. There's a section on him, and it's, admiringly writing of his self-discipline and of his work ethic of this important and very pivotal man in American history. So these bullets literally going through his coats, being diverted from his body. A similar story happened to a later president. I told you I'm jumping around in the chronology. Go now to the 1830s, President Andrew Jackson. An assassin approaches him with 2 pistols in his hand. He fires them both off, but they both, not 1, but 2 pistols misfire, and he is preserved. And he put it this way: "A kind of providence has been pleased to shield me against the recent attempt upon my life, and irresistibly carried many minds to the belief in a superintending providence." These guys believed, and these are secular people, they have a religious understanding, but not in the same way as many Bible-believing Christians. They understood, though, that there was providence. We'd better really understand God's superintending providence will provide always, particularly when prophecy has predicted something. Providence will provide that it takes place, always and every time. Now, while we're on the topic of bullets going through coats and stuff, this is a real war hero. Clara Barton, founder of the American Red Cross. War hero, what do you mean? Well, she was delivering relief supplies to wounded soldiers, aiding in the search for missing soldiers. This incredible lady, during the Civil War now, 1861 to 1865, she's carrying a wounded soldier from the battlefield. While doing that, a bullet, listen to her words, a ball, they called it at the time, musket ball, had passed between my body and the right arm, which supported him, cutting through her sleeve, and passing through his chest from shoulder to shoulder. There was no more to be done for him, and I left him to his rest. I have never," listen to that, she's never mended that hole in her sleeve. Soldiers don't get to mend the holes that go through their coats and kill them, unless it's a rare occasion of providence, like Clara Barton experienced, going through the sleeve but not touching you, or George Washington. There's so many stories like this. I was thinking of her. Later on, she helped people on both sides of that Civil War. And that reminds me of love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Remember, like the Pilgrims did when we saw William Brewster, and he was caring for the sick and dying and starving during that first winter that the Pilgrims were here. Even the crew members who had cursed and hated and despised the Pilgrims. Love your enemies. Now, back in the 1620s with those Pilgrims, there were more bullets that went through coats. In this case, they were exploring the land in that first fall of 1620, and we talked about the Wampanoags, the Indian tribe that they became friends with. Not all were so friendly. As they were exploring the land, all of a sudden, there were arrows raining down on them. It's not bullets this time, but arrows. But William Bradford writes, by the special providence of God, none of these arrows, bombarding them from the woods, out of the blue, none of these arrows either hit or hurt us, though many came close by us, and some coats which hung upon our barricade were shot through and through. I've heard other miracle stories, you probably have too, of missionaries, and you have a thief or a kidnapper or just criminals who are trying to deter them, and the weaponry just doesn't work right. The bullets just don't work like they're supposed to work. Oh, these miracle stories get me every time.